So I'm here today to just share a little bit, unfortunately, not really the work that I'm doing, but a little bit of the work of others, and to put into a scholarly perspective what's happening in India, where I'm from, and in particular related to the stigmatization, scapegoating, and violence against ethnic minorities, particularly religious groups, and especially Muslims. And so, for context, India, for now the last few election cycles, has been ruled by the Hindu nationalist Bharatiya Janata Party, which is basically a Hindu nationalist regime. And to put it in context, because the video, the very inspiring video that Brianna shared at the beginning, ends with a quote by Gandhi. So Gandhi, as you know, inspired by Martin Luther King, or Martin Luther King inspired by Gandhi, was the leader of India's non-violent independence struggle against centuries of colonial oppressive rule by the British government. And so this freedom movement that Gandhi led, which inspired many leaders across the world, was led by an idea of a culturally syncretic, multicultural, secular India. And this is what is enshrined in India's constitution that makes it a secular constitution. So even though India was partitioned by the British at the time of Indian independence, and Pakistan was created as an Islamic state, India welcomed and encouraged religious minorities, including Muslims, to make India its homeland. And it's this vision of an inclusive Indian nationalism that is enshrined constitutionally. But the Hindu nationalist government, and again to return it to Gandhi, while the electoral rise of the BJP and of Narendra Modi, who you might know is a kind of best buddy of Trump. There have been these reciprocal visits by Trump and Modi to India and the US. Modi, his rise is relatively recent, but the BJP is part of a network of organizations, particularly civil society organizations, a kind of self-proclaimed devotee of this organization actually assassinated Gandhi. So just to put it in context, the kind of present rise of Hindu nationalism dates back many, many years. And so Gandhi's assassin was affiliated with the civil society network of which the BJP is very much a part and relies on. And so as part of this Hindu nationalist ideology, there has been the targeting of Muslims, often violently. Modi is now the Prime Minister of India. In 2002, he was the Chief Minister of the state of Gujarat, where he has been accused, and to me quite credibly shown, to have initiated and condoned what cannot be called a riot, but a pogrom in the extent of state involvement. And now you have, the violation of human rights consistently in Kashmir, and almost like a kind of armed force lockdown and occupation, along with a kind of everyday vigilantism that is targeting Muslims. And to kind of bring it right now into the present period, this has only intensified with the COVID-19 pandemic. And so we know that diseases in general bring up this idea of outgroups and of foreigners as being associated with disease, but in a sense, kind of continuing and further deepening this targeting of one particular religious group, which is Muslims. So just before the COVID outbreak, millions of Indians were out on the streets protesting the Citizenship Amendment Act and the National Registry of Citizens that threatened to put in these new prison-like structures, again referencing back to Reverend the previous points about kind of creation of prison camps for Muslims who have lived in India for many generations, but are now going to be stripped of their residency, and the Citizenship Amendment Act will make it almost impossible for Muslim refugees to apply for citizenship. And so this is part of the institutional changes that the Hindu nationalist government is putting in place to, in a sense, supplement and solidify the everyday blaming, targeting, and violence, and this kind of general culture of fear that the Muslim minority in India, and just to put it in context, India has the largest minority of Muslims in the world. It has the second largest absolute population of Muslims. Only Indonesia has more Muslims than India does. And so this is a minority that's being systematically persecuted institutionally and every day. And just in terms of human rights, India also has, going back to the Gandhian period and back to independence, a really robust culture of civil society organizations that have fought for human rights. But it's the targeting of these organizations, the going after these people who have been at the helm of helping the minorities that are targeted, that is, to me, the most kind of dangerous thing. And just to end with, Amnesty International just a few weeks ago decided to shut its offices in India and lay off all of its Indian staff because of the witch hunt. And this is the letter that Amnesty International issued, because of the witch hunt by the Modi government. And this is symptomatic of the kind of broader and brutal crackdown on any kind of opposition, dissent, and standing up of human rights. So it's an uphill and urgent battle in India today, as it is unfortunately in many parts of the world, but human rights is worth the fight. Thank you.